stop there. What they usually don't examine is what died with him, because it wasn't only a man, it was a policy architecture that had not fully solidified yet. Lincoln had a post-war vision for the South through Reconstruction, and at its core, it threatened something very specific, something financial. Start with land. The plantation system wasn't just cultural. It wasn't simply racial hierarchy institutionalized into law, though obviously it was that too. It was collateral infrastructure. Southern plantations held titles that backed regional banking systems. Those banks financed the cotton trade. The cotton trade fed the textile mills in New England and in Lancaster, England as well. So the financial chain runs all the way from forced labor in Mississippi to counting houses in London. And once you see that, the whole thing changes. Because destroying the plantation system doesn't just alter labor relations, it fractures the collateral structure underneath an international commodity network. That's not ideology. That's balance sheet mathematics. And then there's the labor itself. The South's export economy, cotton, sugar, tobacco, depended on forced labor margins. The free labor force, and suddenly wages exist. Negotiated wages. And the cost structure feeding both Northern and British mills changes immediately. The margins collapse. Then representation. The 14th Amendment creates citizenship for formerly enslaved Americans, which means congressional representation, which means a potential federal power realignment. So what Southern financial interests, and honestly many Northern interests tied into them, were staring at was not just social change. It was systematic reset. John Wilkes Booth gets remembered as an angry actor, but Booth moved inside Confederate intelligence circles. He had financial backers. There were coordinated attacks planned simultaneously against the Secretary of State and the Vice President. This wasn't just one unstable man improvising violence. It was a political operation, and what follows tells you exactly who benefited. Andrew Johnson takes office. Within months, he vetoes the Civil Rights Act. He restores confiscated land to former Confederate planters. He blocks redistribution efforts to freed slaves. So the legal scaffolding of Reconstruction begins getting dismantled almost before it fully exists. And what replaces slavery isn't freedom in any meaningful economic sense. It's debt, crop liens, tenant farming, credit dependency. Former slaves owe rent to landowners. They owe seed money to merchants. The merchants owe the banks. And the debt instruments backing all of it are held by essentially the same financial class that just survived the Civil War. So the plantation survives, not in its original legal form. More precisely, it reorganizes itself into debt infrastructure. And versions of that system last another century. That's what Lincoln's death protects. Not just political stability, not national mourning. A financial architecture the war was supposed to destroy. So now let's move forward 36 years. September 6th, 1901. William McKinley is shot in the Pan American